The moon hung low over the war-torn fields of Sumy Oblast like a blood-orange sentinel on October 17, 2025, casting long shadows across the scarred earth where Ukraine's elite Timur special unit prepared for what would become one of the most audacious and perilous raids of the conflict. In the dead of night, under a sky prickling with stars that offered scant cover from Russian Orlan-10 drones, a team of 12 operatives, battle-hardened ghosts from Ukraine's defense intelligence slipped across the border into enemy territory, their faces blackened with camo grease and their rucksacks heavy with C4 charges, suppressed Alaska 12S, and encrypted sat phones tuned to frequencies that could summon hell from the skies. This wasn't a probe or a feint. It was Operation Phantom Harvest, a high-stakes sabotage mission deep behind Russian lines aimed at crippling a forward battalion poised to punch through Ukrainian defenses in the northeast. For these men, drawn from the Brotherhood Battalion and the 4th Ranger Regiment, units forged in the fires of Kyiv's 2022 defense and Kharkiv's lightning counteroffensive, the line between hero and casualty was as thin as the razor wire they sliced through with bolt cutters, each step a gamble where capture meant torture in a Donetsk basement or a bullet in the back of the skull. The mission's genesis traced back to a grainy intercept from a Ukrainian signals unit on the front near Konotop, where her analysts had pieced together chatter from the Russian 83rd Airborne Brigade's forward elements, a full battalion, 400 strong, massing in a forested salient 15 kilometers inside Russian territory, stockpiling ammo and fuel for a dawn push that could unhinge the entire Sumy salient. Satellite imagery from Western allies, fused with drone overwatch from a Turkish Bayraktar TB2 circling at 20,000 feet, painted the target, a makeshift HQ in an abandoned kolkhoz barn, ringed by 9 ammunition depots, 8 river crossings over the Syal, and 600 underground bunkers burrowed like tick colonies into the loamy soil. "We couldn't let them roll over us like they did in Kursk," recalled Lieutenant Call Viper, the Timur commander whose call sign hid a face etched with 3 years of raids that had claimed 2 brothers in arms. Viper, a wiry 38-year-old from Lviv whose pre-war life as a history teacher seemed a distant dream, handpicked his team, 6 Rangers trained by American instructors like Scooter, from the 4th Regiment, who had drilled them in mischief runs, quick strikes to sow chaos without leaving a trace, and 6 from the Brotherhood, devout fighters whose shared Christian ethos turned missions into crusades, their rosaries tucked beside thermite grenades. Insertion came at 0200 hours, the team gliding across the border on electric ATVs silenced to a whisper, their NVGs painting the world in ghostly green amid the autumn chill that bit like shrapnel. The first kilometers were a gauntlet of patrols, 2 Russian checkpoints bypassed with suppressed fire that dropped sentries like felled pines, their bodies dragged into ditches amid the rustle of wind through birch groves. By 0230, they were 8 clicks in, hearts pounding as they humped 30-kilo packs through minefields flagged by Ukrainian intel from prior probes. Viper's sat phone buzzed once, a single chirp from command confirming the green light, and the team split, Alpha Squad to the ammo dumps, Bravo to the HQ, Charlie covering the exfil with loitering Switchblade 600s prepped for kamikaze runs. Faith first, then fire, Viper whispered over comms, a mantra from the Brotherhood's creed that steadied nerves as they crested the ridge overlooking the salient, the Russian camp a constellation of flickering generators and shadowed tents 2 clicks distant. Alpha's breach, hit first at 0315, a whisper of shadows melting into the perimeter wire amid the low growl of diesel idling in parked Ural trucks. Led by Sergeant Ghost, a 29-year-old Dnipro native whose sniper eye had banked 47 confirmed kills since Bakhmut, the 6-man fireteam planted thermite charges on 9 depots stacked with 122mm shells and Grad rockets, enough to fuel a week's barrage on Sumy. Like Christmas, but with booms, Ghost joked in a post-mission debrief leaked to Suspil News, his voice hoarse from the cordite bite as they rigged daisy chain fuses synced to Viper's countdown. The charges whispered to life at 0345. Silent at first, then a chain of muffled whumps that blossomed into fireballs 20 meters high, the thermite chewing through casings like acid on flesh, detonating secondary blasts that lit the night in staccato fury. Russian sentries scrambled from foxholes, their AKs chattering blindly into the dark, but Alpha was already ghosts, slipping into the Syal's muddy banks, where 8 pontoon crossings met C4 kisses that snapped cables like threads, plunging the spans into the current amid screams of drowning engineers. Bravo's dance with death at the HQ was the mission's razor edge, a 10-minute sprint across 600 meters of open ground raked by tripwires and IEDs that Viper's team dodged with probes and prayers. The barn loomed like a black monolith, its doors guarded by a Spetsnaz squad from the elite Sena's center, Russia's shadow warriors, blooded in Syria's shadows and Ukraine's meat grinders, their blood ritual, demanding a kill per op, be it soldier or civilian. Viper's intel had flagged them. 6 shadows in multicam, NVGs sweeping the tree line, their commander a scarred colonel whose Aleppo airstrike calls had orphaned Syrian villages. "They're the devil's butchers, we end their hunt tonight," Viper hissed over the net, his suppressed Makarov barking twice to drop the outer sentries amid the crunch of gravel. The breach came fast. A flashbang lobbed through a shattered window, followed by a stack of Brotherhood Rangers tumbling through the door like avenging angels, their CQB drills turning the barn into a killbox of point-blank fury. Close quarters erupted in a frenzy of muzzle flashes and guttural cries, Russian Spetsnaz unleashing PKM bursts that chewed woodwork into splinters, while Ukrainian suppressors whispered death, Viper's team leveraging room-clearing tactics drilled in US-led sims to flank and frag. The colonel fell first, a 7.62 round from Ghost's backup squad punching through his tack vest amid a spray of crimson, his last gasp a garbled radio call for reinforcements that Viper jammed with a handheld pulsar. 5 more Senas went down in the melee, one gutted by a Ka-bar in a grapple that left the Ranger's arm gashed to bone, another shredded by a tossed grenade that pulped the radio room amid sparking consoles. Like storming Hell's Pantry, blood everywhere, but we owned it, one survivor recounted in a Euromaidan press interview, his hands still trembling amid the tale of a 6th Spetsnaz cornered in the loft, trading fire until a Ukrainian frag ended the standoff in a wet crunch. 8 Russians wounded in the exchange, their moans echoing as Bravo planted the final charges on the command server rack. Hers prize, a trove of encrypted drives mapping the battalion's push that Viper's team snatched amid the exfil scramble. Charlie's Overwatch turned the tide at 0400, as Russian reinforcements, a motorized platoon from the 83rd, rumbled up the access road, their BTRs churning mud under the first gray hints of dawn. The Switchblades, loitering like patient vultures, dove in sequence, one cratering the lead BTR in a bloom of ATGMs that flipped it like a toy, while 2 more shredded the flanks amid the panicked spray of DSHK tracers. It was biblical, fire from above, and they broke like waves on rock, Viper radioed command, his voice steady amid the retreat as the team melted into the Syal's fog-shrouded bends, exfilling on inflatable kayaks that bobbed silent under the current. By 0500, they were across the border, humping 5 clicks to a Black Hawk LZ amid the first Russian Mi-8s thumping overhead, their flares popping futilely into empty sky. By dawn on October 18, the toll resounded across frontlines and feeds alike, her claimed 334 Russian dead, 550 wounded amid the defeated battalion that Viper's raid had gutted, its advance stalled cold as supply lines choked and command dissolved in the thermites' embrace. Satellite passes from Maxar confirmed the pyre. 9 depots ablaze, spanning 2 square kilometers of smoldering craters, 8 crossings submerged in twisted steel, 600 bunkers breached by follow-on Ukrainian artillery called in on Viper's cords, the barrage pounding like divine judgment amid the Russian retreat. For Ukraine, it was a coup. The Sumy salient held, 400 conscripts neutralized amid the 83 roads route, while the snatched drives yielded a gold mine, cords for 20 Russian staging posts that Kyiv's drones would feast on in the weeks ahead. Viper's team tallied 2 wounded. A Ranger with a through-and-through from Spetsnaz 9mm, patched amid the exfil, and Ghost nursing a twisted ankle from the river scramble, their scars badges in a war where elite ops like this, 200 such raids since 2024, had shredded 5,000 Russian logistics nodes amid the grind. Yet the victory's price lingered like cordite in the lungs. Viper lost none that night, but the shadows of prior missions haunted. A Brotherhood brother vaporized in a Crimea flag plant on Independence Day 2023. When Timur's jet ski raid on a jamming array drew S-400 fire that sank 2 boats amid the Black Sea's ink. We risk everything because surrender's not in the oath. Faith fills the gaps where luck fails, Viper confided in a post-op huddle, his rosary beads clicking amid the LZ's thump as the Black Hawk lifted them home. In Kyiv's bunkers, Zelensky hailed it obliquely amid a 6 a.m. address, "Our shadows strike where light fears, justice from the dark." Russian reprisals came swift. A 200-drone swarm on Sumy by noon, killing 5 civilians in a market strike that her pinned on Viper's raid, the cycle's cruel churn. Strategically, Phantom Harvest echoed the elite's evolution amid the deadlock, from 2022's maneuver ambushes, convoy takedowns amid Kyiv's defense, to 2025's mischief, sabotage, where small teams like Vipers probed 5 to 10 clicks deep, torching fuel and morale amid Russia's meat wave doctrine that chewed 500,000 conscripts amid the Donbass mire. U.S. trainers like Scooter, embedded since 2023, drilled the Rangers in guerrilla asymmetry, quick hits to multiply Russian paranoia, forcing 20% of their forces to guard rear echelons amid the 1,200-kilometer front sprawl. Economists in Warsaw pegged the raid's ripple at $100 million in Russian setbacks. stalled offensives, rerouted supplies amid the Syal's wreckage, while Ukraine's SOF, down 15% from 2024 casualties, regrouped in Lviv fabs churning drone decoys from basement ingenuity. Ukrainians, from Sumi's shell-shocked cafes to Kyiv's cafes, absorbed the tale with fierce pride amid the grind. X erupted with hashtag Phantom Harvest amid 1 million shares, state bots amplifying her clips of the bunkers blooming, while dissidents whispered of ghosts in the machine that kept the line intact amid 600,000 Russian dead tallied by Western counts. Cafes buzzed with toasts to Viper's shadows, to the ones who hunt in hell, while in Belgorod, Russian deserters leaked memos of 25% morale crater amid the Ukrainian phantoms that turned nights into sieges. For the Timur elite, it was routine risk. 80% of ops behind lines since 2024, their faith, Christian crosses etched on rifle stocks, a bulwark against the void where miracles were measured in meters gained. By October 19's weary twilight, as Black Hawks ferried the team home amid the Syal's echoes, Ukraine exhaled amid the embers. Streets in Sumy flickered with candles for the raid's indirect toll, while cafes reopened to patrons nursing horilka laced with hope. Scars lingered. A child's sketch of shadowed raiders taped to a checkpoint, wilting sunflowers at a fallen ranger's memorial from last month's Crimea probe. The mission hadn't ended the war, but scorched its illusions. No line impenetrable, no rear sacred. Global ripples surged. NATO pledged $50 million in night vision amid Brussels huddles, while Moscow's reprisals loomed, Iskanders arcing over the border amid the cycle's churn. Cleanup dawned on October 20 under a leaden sky, her sappers bridging the Syal with salvaged spans, while Viper's team debriefed in Kyiv bunkers, plotting Harvest 2, amid the drives, decrypted ghosts. Observers pieced exile feeds into lore, mosaicing a conflict's feral shadows. In Lviv's cafes, brotherhood toasts echoed. In Rostov's war rooms, Spetsnaz recalibrated, doctrine dented by daring ghosts. The raid's embers glowed, truth as old as sabotage. In war's blind ballet, elites risk all for the line's fragile thread, and Phantom Harvest, once shadows, now sovereignty's spark.